The first light of Advent is the light of the stones, a light that shines in crystals and seashells and in bones. Hey everybody, welcome to another Sunday with Sarah. I'm Sarah Baldwin, and today is the first Sunday of Advent. Now you may think that Advent is a Christian tradition, but I'm here today to share with you why I think it's a universal season of anticipation that can be observed in a deep and meaningful way by families of all faiths. If we haven't met before, welcome. I'm Sarah Baldwin, the president of Bella Luna Toys, and I'm also a trained and experienced Waldorf early childhood teacher. I'm an author and the mother of 2 Waldorf graduates. So some of you might be wondering what Advent is. Well, in the Christian faith, Advent begins today, the 4th Sunday before Christmas, and is a season that is roughly the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. But I think that Advent is a season that, regardless of one's faith or beliefs, can be observed by everyone with its universal themes of anticipation, of waiting, of looking inward, and inner preparation and outer preparation. It's a season of preparing one's home for guests and for the holidays with anticipation. But I think that Advent is a season that, regardless of one's faith or beliefs, can be observed by everyone with its universal themes of anticipation, of waiting. It's a time to look inward and for inner preparation and outer preparation. It's a season of preparing one's home for guests for the holidays. Now, everyone can relate to the themes of anticipation and waiting. Think of the anticipation of waiting for the birth of a new baby. And at this darkest time of year here in the Northern Hemisphere, there's the anticipation of the light returning after the cold days and long nights of the darkness of winter. There's anticipation for the time when the sun and its light will be returning slowly. So, how are some ways to observe the season of Advent with children? Well, you may be familiar with some of the more popular Advent traditions like the Advent calendar. Here's one that we carry at Bella Luna Toys from Ebu. And the way it works is children open a door on the Advent calendar for each of the 24 days leading up to Christmas. There's a number for each day, and this was a tradition that my family observed when I was growing up, both when I was growing up and that I practiced with my own 2 children. Now, some Advent calendars have chocolate or treasures behind each door, but many, like this one, just have a little surprise picture each day. On the first day, there's a little piece of cake and a little airplane on this one. So children really get great joy opening a new door every day, anticipating the final door that will be opened on Christmas Eve. Now there are Advent calendars with Christian themes and motifs, and other ones like this that are more seasonal and whimsical. Advent calendars are a wonderful way for a child who can't yet tell time or cannot yet read a calendar because it's very abstract. It's hard for children to understand how many days or weeks are left until Christmas. But seeing the number of remaining doors on an Advent calendar gives them a real concrete visual of how much longer it will be. Another Advent tradition you might be familiar with is an Advent wreath, which typically holds 4 candles, one for each of the 4 Sundays before the holiday. And 1 new candle is lit each Sunday during Advent, and the same candle will be lit every day that week. Then on the next Sunday, 2 candles are lit, and so forth, until the 4th candle is lit on the Sunday before Christmas. And then often there will be 1 candle in the center of the Advent wreath that will, something like this, that will be lit on Christmas Eve. But here is a variation on the Advent wreath that I'd like to show you. And this is a wooden Advent spiral. And it has 24 holes. So instead of lighting one candle a week, families can light one candle each day from December 1st until Christmas Eve. And this is another way to give children a visual reference of how many days are left until Christmas. This is a beautiful tradition, I think. This Advent spiral is from Grimm of Germany, and it's available at Bella Luna Toys. Now, some families choose to light one candle for each day of Advent, and others, another choice is to have just one candle and to move it through the spiral for each day. And then the little holes, Grimm's makes little decorations and figures that you can fill other holes with. You can also put evergreen boughs around it to make it more festive. And some families like to use the wooden Mary on a donkey and Joseph that are made by Ostheimer, and they can travel through the spiral during the days of Advent. Unfortunately, the Ostheimer figures, as you may know, are very hard to come by right now, but we hope that will change in the future. Another way to observe Advent, and these stories are more from the Christian tradition, but are a lovely collection of Advent and Christmas stories, verses, and songs that can be read at bedtime or shared with your children. Short verses and some lovely stories related to Christmas with black and white illustrations, popular with a lot of Waldorf families, and that can be brought out. It can become part of your tradition that you pull out year after year. And this Advent and Christmas stories, and also available at Bella Luna Toys. Finally, I'd like to tell you about a lovely festival that's celebrated at this time of year by most Waldorf schools. It's sometimes called an Advent spiral, but more often now it's called the Garden of Light or the Winter Garden to keep it more seasonal and more inclusive. Now, if you haven't experienced this lovely festival before, I'll try to describe it for you. So ahead of the event, a large spiral of evergreen branches is laid out on the floor or the ground. This festival is usually performed indoors, but I've also seen it done outdoors where you can make a much larger, bigger spiral. Now, at the center of that spiral will be one large pillar candle like this one. And the festival is usually performed in the early evening or at dusk, that magic hour when day is transforming into night. And families will enter the room quietly and be seated. And it's very dark except for the one lit candle at the center of the spiral. There might be quiet music playing. It could be people singing quietly, or a harp or other acoustic instruments played very gently. And then one by one, the children enter, and they'll be invited to walk the spiral individually, one at a time. And as they enter the spiral at the widest part, they're handed an apple similar to this one with a candle in it, unlit, usually handed by their teacher. And then they will journey through the spiral all the way inward to the very center. And there the child will light her candle from the candle in the center and ever so carefully walk outward back through the spiral and choose a spot along the spiral on which to set down her candle. At our school, we had gold cardboard stars that were laid out along the path, and the child would choose one star in which to place his or her candle. And the room, which was very dark at the beginning when the festival started, becomes brighter and brighter with each candle that is lit and placed along the path. And after the last child has made the journey, the room is now bright and glowing with warmth and light, all originating from the original candle that was burning at the center of the spiral. At that point, parents and teachers and the community and children may all sing together a song or a carol, often Silent Night, and then everyone just quietly leaves to return home. It's just such a beautiful festival. I hope you have the opportunity to experience it sometime, but you don't have to be part of a Waldorf school to participate in such a festival. I've known many families and homeschoolers who chose to create the festival on their own. They gather family, friends, and children together. It can be done outdoors, as I mentioned, or if you have a large room available, maybe a church or a barn, it can be done indoors. But do have lots of buckets of water nearby, and make sure children with long hair have it tied back. In many years, I've witnessed this festival. I've never seen a mishap, but you do want to be prepared and be careful. So this festival also represents a time of year when the short days and long dark nights of winter, we're all being called upon to look inward, to find that inner light that burns within each of us, and to find that light and bring it out into the world with love and joy and radiate it to those around us. So thanks for joining me this week. I hope that gives you a little insight into the Advent season. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the Sunday with Sarah YouTube channel if you haven't already. Your likes and follows really help allow me to keep creating new content for you. But I would love to hear about your family traditions. What festivals do you celebrate at this time of year, and what holidays do you observe? Please share your ideas, questions, and thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, I wish you a peaceful season of Advent. Happy solstice, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas. I'll be back with a new Sunday with Sarah for you next month in the new year. Lots of love, and see you next time.